All right, let's build an app. The idea for today is that we get you from here, no coding experience, to get an app maybe similar to this. We'll probably split this into 3 parts, and the first part being all the basics. What do we need to download? How do we set it up? What do we need to configure? How do these different tools relate? With the end goal of having our first screen and getting that feeling for what is it really like to develop the first app. In the second part, we get a little bit more advanced and we talk about the workflows. How do we come up with ideas? How do we design the ideas? And how do we then put these designs into an actual app and into development? And then the third part is, if we have that app that we now like, how do we launch it to the App Store, that we can distribute it with friends, that we can see it ourselves on the App Store, maybe even monetize it, etc. But for now, let's start with the basics. And this is the basic setup, the tools that we need to download. And in the end, it's quite simple. It's just a few tools that we need to download, these two, and a project structure that we need to create on our computer. Xcode is the first one, and it is Apple's official application to build iPad apps, Mac apps, but also iPhone apps. So something that we care about right now. And this is where traditionally the code is also written. In our case, though, we don't want to write manual code. We want AI to do it. So this is why we use Cursor, an AI-powered coding assistant. So in Cursor, we actually can just write natural language and it will help us write the code. And how this connects is that everything lives in our project structure. So code is really just texts and files that are arranged in a specific way. And both of these programs point towards the same folder. The only difference is that we only use Cursor to add, edit, and manage all of these files. And Xcode is just reading all of this and is later going to help us to manage the relationship with the App Store, all the official things, and also help build the app. So it takes all of these files and puts them together so we can actually see it as an app. And this is also what we can then do in Xcode, to use a simulator to always see the changes that we do live. So every time we add something, we can see what does it look like in the app, and then we can go back to Cursor and iterate over it. So this is the most important. There are alternatives to Cursor for sure, but for now, I think this is the best one to start with. And Xcode is the official app to build iPhone apps. But later on, there will also be different tools to use for websites, web-based apps, etc. But we'll cover that in a different video. So for now, this is all we need. Go ahead and download this, and then we'll connect with the next part. Okay, now that you have downloaded everything, so Cursor here and Xcode via the Apple Store here, we can go and open them, and I already did that. And we have Cursor here, and we have Xcode here. And now what we want to do, we want to start with Xcode, and we create our first project. Obviously, we want to do an iOS app, and we click Next. And for the product, I think it might be the easiest to start off with a simple product like an alarm app. So we would call it My Alarm App. Here you have to have an identifier. Probably the best is to just leave this for now as it is here, and we copy and we go next. So now we're here in this folder structure that I talked about. And the best would be for the beginning to just create one folder where all your projects and apps live. So for me, this is software development. There's a few projects that I have. And we create a new one here. And what we'll see is we create this and we'll add My Alarm App in that folder. This one, you don't need to worry for now. And it creates this code structure and everything here in a folder, My Alarm App, that you will also see then here. And we can do the same in Cursor, and now open this very same project that we have, My Alarm App, and open it in Cursor. Because again, we have the code here. We could also write code, but we want to do it in natural language. So we don't want to write manual code. And once this is loading here on the side, you will see it's the first preview of our app. So in a very simple experiment, we can see hello world here written in the code. This is what comes up, and we can change that, hello YouTube, and it will live change to hello YouTube. And this is basically what works. This is a very simple first experience, but again, we don't want to write the code here. We use Xcode to preview our changes, to manage the relationship with the App Store, etc. So what we do is we will go ahead into Cursor, and this is the interface where we'll spend all of our time in. We can also see here, if you open this, the folder structure here on the side. So this is on this way. But now we have this window, and this window is the magic. This is where we'll spend our time. This is the chat window, like you know from ChatGPT, where you can just go back and forth with natural language and start coding your app. So we can go ahead and say, please create the UI or basic UI for an alarm app. And we hit go. And what we see, cursor is going to be reading and writing everything doing in these files. So it will be thinking a bit, but then at some point it will stop talking and give you a summary and tells you all the files that it edited. And we can go back and we can see in Xcode, it also edited all of these files. So we see all of this is edited code that Cursor did, and we can already see the preview of our app. This is the very basics, right? We have adding a new alarm, turning it on and off, and this is the first screen that we have. What we can also do in Xcode is we build an app. And this is what this button is for. And this is one of the most important functions here in Xcode. So we go ahead in Cursor, write the code with natural language, and then we go here and preview. The best would even to build it. And as we click this might take some time, but what it does then, it will pull up the simulator and you can have a live app preview for your app. Now in this case, iPhone 17 Pro, and you can see the changes that you've done. Okay, now it took some time, but now when it loaded, we have the simulator here. We can see this is within our app or within our phone, the app, my alarm, and we can see fully functioning and can try it out. And this is the basics, right? We want to use Xcode to preview and build this, but then in the end, we will go back to Cursor, and here we just start chatting and we start adding things and modifying. So for example, we can say, give me the option to add ringtones, etc. And then we would always let the files build, check it out in Xcode, and this way we iterate away. So this is the very basics, everything that you need to know from zero experience to just building your very first screen. This is all we needed: Xcode, Cursor, and the project folder. There's one little step that I would add, and this is Git or GitHub. You might already know GitHub if you've worked in tech companies, but most important for us is Git. What Git is, in very simple terms, it's a way for you to have checkpoints. Like you would have it in the video games, at certain points you save the current snapshot of your app that you have. And in any case, anything ever happens, you can come back to that status. This is particularly important for AI, because AI tends to go on a spin and get very creative and then create something that you can never get back from. So with Git, you have these snapshots. You can go ahead and try crazy things with AI, but you can always go back to your working version. And the very easy way to do this is to just in Cursor, instruct it and say, I like this app that I have right now. Let's save it. So I would say, save this progress, or in probably more technical terms, why not learn it, git commit. And you will see it works in our folder structure here, my alarm app in the software development. And now we run this command and it will go ahead and save our current snapshot, write some comments on this is an alarm app. You can turn it on and off and you can indicate time. And now you see it committed the changes with a little bit of a note. So we know what has been edited, what is in here. And this means as a snapshot, you can always come back and now you can go ahead and do whatever and you will always be able to go back. This is the most essential for AI coding, I would say. If you also want to have a remote backup or you want to collaborate with other people, you can create an account in GitHub and push these kind of changes to the cloud, to GitHub, and then it will be saved even if your computer breaks down or you want to share with other people to work on the code. Okay, so for now, you should have everything that you need to build your very first screen. We covered the first part of all the basics and the tools that you need to download and how they connect, how Xcode and Cursor relate, and how we use Cursor to write the code, to iterate over it, and how we use Xcode to run the simulations, to preview the changes, and then build our app. So this is concluding the first part. And in the next session, we'll focus a little bit more on the advanced workflow. So how do we go from an idea that we have into an actual mobile design, and how do we implement this mobile design using Cursor into code so we end up with an app with a proper UX flow and not just a series of UI screens. But for now, you have everything you need. So go ahead, use these tools, iterate over your first screens, and I'll catch you in the next one.